Welcome to Built for This, the podcast where real estate meets real life skills. Hosted by Andrea Lane and Alyssa Bicar, each episode features investors turning their unique edge into long-term rental success.
Hello and welcome to the Built for This podcast. I am your hostess along with Andrea Lane, the fearless real estate investor, the consultress here at your service, bringing you interesting conversations from real estate investors from the real world.
Great. So Jill, I'm so excited to have you here. You want to just give us a little background of what you're doing and how it's working and a little bit about the current
Sure.
situation.
So I'm happy to be here. My name's Jill Camardese. I live in Pittsburgh. I have 3 kids in their early 20s, and we are primarily focused on short-term rentals. My husband and I are in business together and getting ready to hopefully very soon close on our first big purchase. We've dabbled along the way. We have a second house, I'll call now, in South Carolina, but we've rented that along the way. 20 years ago, we had a duplex that we bought that we lived in half and we rented the other half, and we rented those 2 doors after we moved out for a while. So we've tried some things. But I think, this is our first, kind of the last couple of years have been our first attempt to really make this our business. So very fun. We're enjoying it.
Great.
It's
So
ups and downs.
why did you get into real estate investing? It's not something everyone jumps into.
Yeah, so my background is controllership, CFO type roles. I did that for 30 years. I was looking for something to be less active, more passive role, but also make money. My husband has a construction background, so I think, we felt like this was kind of something that we both could do together. And we both love to travel. So I think we initially went down the path of maybe we'll flip homes with his background and kind of my business side. But when we really got clear on what we wanted to do, the short-term rental is really what excites us. We love to travel. We love bringing that experience of, a great place with people and friends together. And so that's really what we're trying to create.
Super. And what do you love most about real estate?
So actually, I would say the 2 things that came to mind as I was thinking about this question, actually kind of surprised me. But the first was that it's ours. So it's really rewarding to know that my husband and I are taking action and making decisions, and they impact just us. Like, so we control it. That's really rewarding, and I'm really enjoying that. And the other piece that I'm really loving also is having these conversations with our kids. So it's a different conversation than we've had in the past. I mean, 2 of the 3 kids don't live here full time, but when they're home, they hear us having conversations about the business and they're asking questions. And that's been really rewarding as well, because I think it's something to teach them. And, part of what my husband and I want to do is really leave kind of a legacy for the kids. So we want to have them not necessarily get completely involved yet, but we want them to understand why we're doing it, how we're doing it, and maybe it's something that interests them as they, move through their life journey as well.
Yeah, legacy part is my most favorite part.
Yeah, I wasn't actually that's something I knew we wanted, but I didn't expect it to hit me the way that it did. That, and just kind of having this business to ourselves has been very rewarding and very cool. So I do love those 2 things.
Great.
Yeah, and being the captain of your own ship, right? From 30 years, having to report to other people to saying, no, I'm making decisions and I'm building this for me, by us, and for our legacy, for our family. It's like, it kind of all lines up all the dots. And it for me anyway, I feel that it creates this almost external force. It's like this momentum is carrying me because it's not just me by myself to someone else. Is not linear. It feels like it gets to be more of your identity. It gets to be more of who you are in your family and who you are as a businesswoman. So I love that.
It's super scary, I will say that. I mean, it's a significant change from where I was, right? I mean, I was making big decisions, but they impacted obviously all the people I worked with and me, but not to the extent now, right? And so some of that is very scary, but it's very rewarding as well.
So how do your professional and technical skills translate into what you're doing? You sort of said by working in corporate America, you knew how to run things, but now it's all by yourself. There's no corporate background to help you out.
Yeah,
that-
I think that my roles have mostly been controllership, global operations, and CFO type roles. So I'm very comfortable in the financials. I spent my career looking at data and analyzing that and making decisions off of that data. So I feel like that translates very well. Um, and then I also think from a communication perspective, throughout my career, I've communicated with all levels of people from our CFO, so the very biggest leader, finance leader in our company, to people in a manufacturing plant that I was part of, like, the world that I was in charge of. So I'm very comfortable and I think adaptable from a communication perspective. I think that's helpful too, because you meet lots of different people. Everybody has a different perspective. Not everybody has a finance background, and that's fine. I've been able to communicate with that. My husband doesn't. So, we work through some of that ourselves, but I think those two things have translated well into what we're trying to do in real estate.
Nice. And it really does work. Even if
Mhm.
you really need that financial brain behind you when you're buying property.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I love what you said about like making decisions from data. And so often, the majority of humans on the planet make decisions from emotion. And I love that is kind of, it sounds to me like it kind of is an unfair advantage in a way for you, because you have this superpower that most people may or may not actually have. So, in terms of what you think your unfair advantage is, like, what do you think gives you that unique edge in your pursuit and real estate investment stuff?
I think it's the combination of me and my husband, actually, because so my husband comes from a construction background, not in any kind of corporate environment at all, and he very much leads with his gut. And I don't. I generally don't. And so it's been some interesting conversations. Alyssa knows some of this. I mean, part of the joke that my husband has is he's the person that looks at all these properties and says, "Oh my gosh, this one's great." And I'm the person who crushes his dreams, right? Because I'm the one who comes in and says, "Yep, that one doesn't work. Nope, these numbers aren't going to work. That's not going to work." And so it makes for an interesting dynamic. But I do think that it's helpful. So I think, Alyssa, it's kind of the combo of both of us that's a little bit of the secret sauce. And I would say as we've progressed through the business, sometimes I have to lean into my gut. I mean, the numbers have to work, but once they work, I still have to lean into that gut a little bit. And so, we balance each other. So we continue to fine tune that, I would say. But I do think that's really helpful. The two totally different perspectives let us think about situations differently, which often opens it up to say, okay, maybe we can make this work because I didn't think about that, or Key didn't think about that. And so that's what's been, I think, really good and helpful.
Yeah, and in your partnership, it sounds like you're sharpening one another's saw. Like you're giving him the unfair advantage of having data-driven decisions, where he's leaning into maybe the more people side or the more emotional side of the parts of what excites him. And so it sounds like you two kind of are rubbing off on one another in that dynamic, that you're getting kind of the best of both worlds. You're getting that you know I would call it the touchy feely. Like in my partnership with Andrea, she's like, "You understand the human experience, Alyssa," and I'm like, "Andrea, thank goodness you have all the I know what to do here. I've made this mistake before. Let me show you." And so, like, I love that that's your unfair advantage, because I too find that in partnership, it kind of makes us all better to have other people that have diverse strengths. So I love that your partnership is your unfair advantage. I dig it.
I'm definitely
Partnership
a
is,
proponent. I'm sorry. I'm definitely a proponent for having diverse people around you, because I do think that lends the best experience. Everybody gets to grow and you get to think about things differently. So I think that's very valuable.
yeah. So I usually say a good partnership, and I've had both been good. Uh, 1 and 1 equals 3, not 2. When you have two unequal people or not the same working together, it really works well.
Yeah.
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 And sometimes you find that like diamond in the rough where 1 + 1 is 11, right, Andrea? High five. And it sounds like, Jill, that's what you have with your husband in this. So if you don't mind my asking, just to kind of open up the inquiry a little bit here, what's been your biggest challenge or struggle lately in real estate?
So we are working towards closing on the first kind of big purchase for a short-term rental. Um, and I would say the process has been a lot messier than I was expecting. So I would say surprises are definitely a challenge. I knew there would be surprises, but we seem to have many more than I was expecting, and coming in like one particular area. So I would say one of the lessons out of the challenge is just a highlight of how important the network around you is, and that making sure that the people that you are working with all have skin in the game, for lack of a better word. But I think that um, we're learning, and I guess in many cases, I guess what I'm learning and through this challenge is, I mean, I haven't really done this before, so I'm taking chances on people, right? You have to, because I'm like, okay, let's go with this person for this particular task. Um, but you figure out quickly, okay, I need more open communication. I need more updates. I need whatever I need, right? And what's acceptable and what's not. And so you kind of figure out, all right, maybe this isn't the person for the next time. How do I find that person the next time around? So I think the challenges are really finding the right people, and it's highlighting the networking, which is probably not my strong suit, but I feel like we did a lot of that to prepare for this particular transaction once it was closed, and we're kind of running into road bumps just getting it to close. So that's the challenge I think we're struggling with the most right now, is just how do I get this thing closed? It should be closed. It's taking very long. It's costing more than we expected, and that just, Andrea, you're laughing. You've been there, you've done that, but for the first time around, it's like, oh, and it's not something I'm used to coming from corporate America. It's easier, in corporate America, you're going to, again, people that work for you, or people come down to you and say, you need to make this happen. It's unacceptable for this. You need to have it done in the next 3 days. And that falls on deaf ears sometimes, is what I'm finding in the environment I'm in right now. So.
Yeah, it's a challenge when you are closing on any deal. I've done hundreds of deals, actually, probably more than 1,000, and every closing is an experience. I'll say that.
Yeah. And Jill, are you finding that this experience to get to your strategy of short-term rental on purpose, because this is how you vetted the deal, was different than the property that you had that you rented out and you got the experience of short-term rental, or the duplex that you had that, it was already closed for a different purpose and you turned it into a rental? Like, how would you compare the experiences of your previous deals versus this one that you're heading into?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like for me, and again, just kind of this being the first one, right? We're going through, it's largely around lending, which isn't based on us, it's based on the deal. So the other two properties that we've dabbled in came from us personally first, right? So we went out, we bought it based on our income and the situation that we were in. And so that felt a lot smoother. Um, this one does not feel that way. So I guess I'll be honest, part of me keeps thinking, okay, do I just not understand the process? But some feedback I'm getting from other people are like, yeah, no, I don't think it should really go this way. So I think it's probably, I get there are surprises, and there are a couple that are probably what I would expect going forward. You're going to have those here and there. But I do think there's a piece of an element of what's happening here where it doesn't feel like people are doing the job the way they should be doing it. And that's frustrating. But the lesson learned is, okay, how do I vet the next person differently, right?
Yeah.
How do I go through that process to make sure we don't end up in this situation? And of course, I've already thought through some things, and I don't know that I would have necessarily seen it coming. But so it's something to just continue to think about. What is a better way, or is there a different way to vet people to make sure that we're kind of aligned on what we're trying to accomplish?
And what I want to highlight here is, like, you're learning in motion. This is not, I already had it, I was already vetted, I already own it, and then it turned into a rental. This is a business transaction. You are now thinking like a business owner. You are going through the uncomfortable growing pains of what it is to be a startup in the real estate investment business world. So I applaud you, because this is some of that like trial by fire that most of us go through when we either oversimplify it or we think we've got this, and we learn as we go. As Andrea was laughing earlier, like I've done 1,000 transactions and literally none of them have gone smoothly. Something comes up every single time. So I don't think the what I'm hearing here is like, I'm learning how to do it better next time, how to vet people better the next time. But the awareness is that I have to be prepared for the unknown, because nothing's going to go according to plan, really, literally ever.
Mhm.
Andrea, thoughts on that?
Yeah, I can't 100% agree. You need to have a really clean process. And so, yeah, and if do you belong to a lot of real estate events, real estate groups that can help you along the way? You need a mentor behind you to make
Mhm.
things flow, because
Yeah.
somebody who's done it before. Your
Yeah.
first time in any game, even when you were learning to play tic-tac-toe wasn't easy, right? And now you're in a big game trying to do it all at once on your own, and it makes it really difficult.
Mhm. Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
right on.
definitely fair. Yep.
So thank you for sharing the uncomfortable and messy parts, because, we've all been there and we're all going to go through it. If you want to own real estate and have freedom and have passive income and legacy, these are some of the necessary requirements that you get to learn along the way. But oh my goodness, is it worth it? So
Yeah.
can you share with us a recent win, or lesson that you've learned along this journey?
Yeah. So, the win is that we actually are at the point where, hopefully we're closing on this property soon. So we've probably been looking at properties for well over a year in primarily two markets, but, we kind of dug around a couple markets and kind of settled on two. So one's in Ohio and one's in South Carolina. Um, and so we've been looking a lot. So the win is we got to the point where we were excited about it, the numbers worked, and we can see kind of this playing out, the customer experience and the way we're going to manage it, et cetera. So that's all really good. I guess I would say the lessons. So the lessons are you need to take the emotion out of it. And I know I said that on the business side, which I generally run with the numbers, which I do, but it's also easy to get emotionally invested in property when you see it because it's a great piece of property. And then it's like, well, I have to have this one. And you know what I mean? So my husband and I both do that a little bit. But it's taking the emotion out of it, even when the surprises come. So you learn to be patient. I guess that would be my other lesson. Like I said, we've been looking at properties for a while. So being patient. And then I think also, I mentioned earlier, it's scary. So the numbers work, but there's, it's still big money. Like it's our money now, right? It's that we own this, this is ours. And so that's scary. So it's really having the confidence to take that action. And then once we decided to take that action, it was really about being confident in that decision. So one of the learnings I think we would have is as the surprises come, some of those surprises cause us to say, oh, wait, maybe we shouldn't have done this, right? It's the fear. That's the fear that's popping in. Maybe we shouldn't have done this. This wasn't the right decision. And we've literally taken that emotion out and kind of walked ourselves off the ledge and said, no, wait a minute. We made a decision when we had all of these facts, and these facts made sense. And none of those facts have changed significantly. Yeah, they're a little bit different here and there, but there's not a huge change. So let's have confidence in that decision that we had and keep plowing forward, right? So I think there's a lot of lessons in there, obviously, the first time around, but it's, just to summarize, I would say take the emotion out of it, be patient, and then kind of be confident. Like it takes grit to keep things moving forward. And sometimes you have to remind yourself that as you're going, because sometimes the surprises look like, oh my gosh, this is never going to happen. But yeah, it is. You just have to keep, walking over the bumps or pushing the barricades out of the way or whatever you want to say, but you keep moving
Reminds me
forward.
of reminds me of Dory. Just keep swimming. Just keep swimming.
There you go.
We swim. That's
Yeah.
what. Love that. Yeah.
Yeah.
High five. That's
High
a
five. Keep swimming.
really great learning.
So, as we're ending this interview, what exciting plans do you have? I know this is the property you're buying. What's the plans you're going to do? Do you have plans for the future in the next 12 to 18 months? Where do you see yourself going?
So really excited to get this property kind of up and running and listed and really creating a great customer experience, a place for, people to really have great experiences. And then we're going to keep looking. We're going to move to a second property. We may stay in the same area. We may not. We're still kind of up in the air, but we've definitely seen other houses or cabins in this area that we're purchasing that that are attractive. So we might just do a second one there, but we're gonna keep pushing forward on that short-term rental and think about the just cool properties that we can set up for people to utilize and have experiences in.
Great.
Beautiful.
So thank you so much, Jill, for joining us. Really appreciate all your insight and all the tips that you're encountering along the way. If people would like to connect to you, what's the best way that they can do that?
So I do have a LinkedIn profile. It's just under Jill Camardese. I don't know, Alyssa, do I need to spell that or will that be in notes somewhere?
Put it in the notes.
Okay. So reach out to me on LinkedIn. I'm in there quite a bit, and I'd be happy to connect and talk with people.
Great. Thanks so much. We really appreciate it.
Welcome. Thanks for having me.
And you've heard it here first, ladies and gents, like the messy and rewarding process that it is to be involved as a real estate investment business owner. It takes courage and it takes commitment and it takes curiosity to what you don't yet know. So thank you so much for being here. If you're listening to the broadcast, stay tuned. We've got another episode queued right up for you. Don't go away. And Jill, thank you so much for being here.
You're welcome. Thanks for having me.
This wraps another episode of Built for This. If you're a real estate investor with a unique edge, apply to join us at builtforthisshow.com/guest.